Hey guys, it's Sydney. I wanted to finally, put together this video talking about the Darkwood Tarot. So the Darkwood Tarot is a deck I recently got. I believe I bought it about 2 weeks ago from Books A Million. It's local to Indiana. And I picked this deck kind of in hopes of getting something new. Now, I am a tarot reader, a rune reader, I guess you would say, runester, some people would say. And I, in general, just love all forms of divination. So this year, especially with the way 2020 has kind of been going, I've been trying to shake up like some of the ideas and like, I guess, structure that I've been following when it comes to divination systems and really trying to opening myself to something new. So the Darkwood Tarot has been kind of like slowly creeping into my algorithms when it comes to like, Facebook or Instagram and stuff. And I've been seeing people talk about it. So I decided to try it out and go ahead and grab it. This is, kind of like what the box looks like. You've seen in like my teaser that I've posted online, but beautiful, beautiful imagery. I'll say some of my first impressions when it comes to this deck. I haven't had it for very long, but right now it's already calling me and some of the clients I have out when it comes to the messages that come from it. So far I'm like really in love with it and glad I bought it. But per this imagery that you can see right here, the entire like book is kind of based upon this concept of shadow work. And per it being about shadow work, for those who don't know, shadow work is talking about of your trials, tribulations, and traumas and pain that you've kind of gone through in your life, and kind of learning how to walk within, the deep dark woods when it comes to at least this tarot deck, or in general, the deep depths of your psyche and your subconscious to work through those pains and traumas so that you can find light in things and find new ways to work through your triggers or things that have hurt you in the past. So that is like essentially what this deck is for. If you think it is all love and light, it's not. Essentially what really captured my like, I don't know, like the visuals are very big. As I am a graphic designer and a reader, some of my biggest things when it comes to decks are like the consistency of imagery. This is also too by Sasha Graham and Abigail Larson. I've been following Abigail Larson's like, I would say I've been following her drawings and illustrations essentially for a couple of years now, even from like DeviantArt days. So I've always been a big fan, so I'm really excited with this deck and working with this deck because of her imagery already. But the content in it is definitely, tens across the board, I'll say. So visually here we have like this feminine energy. It's a very feminine deck. There are, menfolk in the tarot, of course, when it comes to the kings, but the pages are feminine energy, like more like a princess, but they do call them pages for those who are going to buy this deck. It is beautiful to me because it's giving me, now I'll say like at first I definitely thought like the Red Riding Hood kind of vibe, but I will definitely say this also gives me Hecate kind of energy, because I think of some of Hecate's correspondences being like a lantern and then to like this kind of like imagery of walking through the dark woods and really, trying to like be the fool in this instance, or the shadow witch, as the booklet, that the companion guide that comes with it talks about. But overall, I mean, what drew me in is this red, definitely like one of my favorite colors, but in two, also visually attractive. It really brings the eye to this deck in general. So here's a little bit of like what the deck looks like, the deck box. I know it's kind of reversed on here. Here's this, as I've been showing you, definitely beautiful. I love the cute little minions that are on the side too. They're in like a couple of parts of the deck. And when you open the box, I thought was beautiful, is the Ace of Pentacles card. So for Pentacles, they use apples, which I thought was perfect since we're going into Mabon season, Libra season, you know, literally in the moon, Libra moon right now. And here's also kind of like what the inside of the box looks like with the cute little red tag. So, so far I really like it. One of the main reasons that I bought it, not just because of the imagery, but because it was Rider-Waite styled. So for those who don't read with Rider-Waite, it just gives off similar imagery to the actual Rider-Waite deck, but it kind of emulates it as opposed to like using the exact images, which is kind of what I like. And I've been trying to challenge myself as a reader to learn how to read outside of Rider-Waite in the sense of imagery, so that I'm kind of like working a little bit more with my memory and intuition to, you know, give readings through this. Now, this deck that I've been using, like, I'll show you the cards in a moment, but really, because it hits when it comes to shadow work, it does not play any games. Maybe because I've just only been using it for the past couple of weeks when it comes to readings. But pretty much every like person or client that I've shown this deck, every time I'm shuffling, the cards just fly out. And if you're a reader, you already know, in that sense of like, yeah, it's definitely a message coming through, maybe like a spirit wanting you to know this, but it does not play games. Like, absolutely, seriously, does not play any of the games. Now, why does this deck, you know, hit so hard, in my opinion? Imagery, yes, absolutely. Abigail Larson did a beautiful job when it came to this tarot deck. But the cool thing about this tarot deck, especially it being based upon shadow work, is that it embraces the idea of shadow. Like on the cover, the actual like feminine energy on there is a shadow witch, and that's what the author calls her. Sasha Graham like refers to her as a shadow witch in the sense of like, this is you working through your psyche and your subconscious and you finding new ways to essentially find what you need to learn from this tarot deck. Here is the companion book that comes with it. This is like the image that was used for the Fool card. And I think what's cool about this companion book is that I think it's really good for beginners. Now I am definitely a Rider-Waite Smith girl when it comes to like learning the actual language of tarot, but I do feel like this was geared towards beginner witches, people who are into the witchy aesthetics, people who are, you know, maybe subconsciously looking for something that deals with shadow work. You know, it's definitely got like the edge, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the Hot Topic would, you know, essentially sell this as they do, like as they did back in the day, but overall it's really a great deck. So in this book, especially with, I'm gonna talk all day when it comes to this imagery, like I won't shut up about it, but I will say that the book does give a good way to introduce somebody who may not know the Rider-Waite Smith tarot style of reading, or at least the language of Rider-Waite Smith, a way to start learning how to. Plus two, the Shadow Witch is supposed to be the Fool card. Now, she's not, like, her feminine energy is not put into the very first card. This is what it is. This is like the embodiment of the Fool card and the image, like similar part of the image used for the Fool card. but essentially this is how she's supposed to be in the story, working through the major arcana, like the Fool's Journey, like exactly the Fool's Journey, but she has companions that include a fox and a black cat. Now, I have my own conspiracy theories of, you know, those ideas and that concept being used, because I definitely do think the fox, especially the cards I've seen them come up in, some of the foxes come up in the, you know, cup cards, and the cat seems to come up a little bit more in the wands, though I feel like they are throughout the deck. Those are just the cards that I've been seeing recently when giving readings to people using this deck. Now, I will also say too, a lot of the book is very self-explanatory. As a designer, it's very designed well. It's a full color book, and I would definitely, you know, I would honestly read over some of the meanings from the book, not in the sense that it's really is for beginners, I feel like, and I think it's good for intermediate and advanced readers, or anyone who's just reading full time, to at least learn the language in which the author is trying to convey this deck. Because the more and more you try to say that this is a actual Rider-Waite Smith, the more you get away from the idea of the Darkwood Tarot. It's just how I'm seeing it. So especially them putting in the time and understanding of how they wanted this project to come to life, I think it's better suited to try to at least understand, you know, their point of view and how they created this deck and why they wanted to be expressed like this. It also gives like a cute little story, you know. I'm paraphrasing it a lot, but essentially the Shadow Witch, you know, meets a manfolk, as you do, and, you know, she kind of experiences this cute little Two of Cups kind of situation with him, falls head over heels, kisses him, and then he kind of disappears, and the universe, essentially the universe or Brahma or whatever this force is, kind of takes him from her, or he's essentially just disappears in general, and she is kind of left in pain with the kind of Two of Cups reverse moment, as you do, and she essentially feels this pain and sorrow and doesn't know how to, like, I don't want to say move on, because I'm sure she's very capable of handling herself, but in the story, for her being like this Fool card, she is kind of looking at new beginnings and is unsure of how to move on from the kiss to him being gone, and now she has to go and kind of do her own thing and embark on, you know, the Fool's journey, or the Shadow Witch journey of moving through this pain and sorrow. I don't think it's really a love story. I think it's kind of more of a, this is what the universe gave you, and here's how we took it away. Just real simple, like. And here is kind of like a main concept and example of how your pain and trauma, you know, can pop up. Now you have these two guides, this this fox and this black cat, to essentially help and guide you through this journey so that you can actually find where, you know, maybe I think of foxes as more trickery. I think of black cats as, you know, vast energy. Magic is about to, you know, appear and start in your life, or maybe whatever you work with, ancestors, gods, guides, you know, whatever that is for you, it's going to start showing up being the black cat. But the trickery, or the things you may not be able to see, is that fox. That's how I'm perceiving it, based upon like the messages I've been getting. So also too, I do want to include like a little look at the cards. This is like the little pouch I got from Books A Million that I'm storing them in right now. But here is a cute look at the deck. These are the back of the cards. The dark wood, and then you see as it just changes. It kind of reminds me of, for those who already have or haven't seen, you can see images online of them, of the Modern Witch Tarot monogram just kind of like using that and twisting and turning it. The cardstock, I will say, is rather thin, so I am definitely trying to be as careful as I can when it comes to these cards, but it is glossed. It is glossed, like a glossy print. Here is what some of the imagery looks like. Like, this is the moon card. Here is the temperance card. Here is the sun card. A lot of majors coming up here. And a lot of it is very much like a feminine deck. Like I said, menfolk are there, but they're more of the knights and kings, and like some of the majors are in here, but they're not a main embodiment in this deck, which I actually enjoy for me, especially when I'm giving readings. Our High Priestess. Two of Cups is really interesting because they actually make it like two horses, you know, with two cups at the bottom. I thought that was really different. Like, that's really changing the game, I feel like. Also too, guys, like when it comes to decks like this, I usually don't buy a lot of decks like this. For a lot of my readings, I essentially do a lot of, I would say like probably the most out there is probably just Modern Witch Tarot, which is essentially a Rider-Waite modernized. So I like, this is really the first time I'm really like stepping out and trying something new with this one. Here is like our Hanged Man. Per it being hanged and this being like an actual woman, I think they could have honestly changed the language to saying like hanged being, you know, or like hanged woman, you know, just a thought, you know. As a designer, this is just something I'm thinking of here. Our Four of Wands has this like, I want to say, and I'm really terrible when it comes to like classifying, you know, supernatural beings, but I want to say this is kind of like a humped over orc kind of vibe for the Four of Wands. I think that's pretty interesting, since there's like four wands going as a bridge and lighting your way through. So it's kind of like, okay, are we, like, if we fall into this, we're going to meet this kind of orc. So that's really interesting. I love this Two of Pentacles because it's literally like, not really a dryad essentially, but it is some kind of like ent, I would say, for the Two of Pentacles. I like his kind of weird face on that. Let's see, let's get some of the minors of here. So here's like the Seven of Pentacles. I thought this was really interesting since it gives like a very fall feel. It feels like a Mabon, like actual Mabon, and then instead of having a scarecrow, there's a reaper. And maybe there's like something lying underneath when it comes to your pentacles and what you're supposed to be doing, you know. Maybe instead of like lying about in your slumber, there's something, you know, creeping up, you know, as you're trying to learn how to persevere and find new ways to accomplish your goals. This is the Two of Wands. Lots of feminine energy in this deck. Here's also our Devil card. I thought this one was really interesting because instead of it being two people, I'll say instead of it being two people with like kind of the Gemini aspects, there's literally like this kind of page figure right here. Kind of gives me like a Kingdom Hearts kind of vibe. I don't know. And then it kind of gives me a Kingdom Hearts kind of vibe. But then there's also like this fire. So I'm interested to read a little bit more on this card. It's, you know, that's one of my favorite cards is the Devil. Devil reverse, honestly, is my favorite thing to tell somebody in a reading because it's like a beautiful way to unlock who you really are by breaking the chains of temptation to essentially allow yourself to have everything you want in life. Or maybe in this deck, it's talking more about like embodying that darkness, embodying that temptation, that lust, and that fear for you to conquer some of that. Here's the Four of Cups, which I was kind of like telling you guys earlier. This actually has like the cute foxes. This one actually has a rabbit in its mouth. I don't know if you can tell there, but I mean, there's a little unsettling in a sense with this. Here's also, this is our Four of Pentacles. So kind of continuing with this leafy design and also the apples. I'm just so glad and excited about reading with this deck. This one is the Knight of Wands. I mean, I know it's wands, but I'm just really getting a Legolas vibe from this one. Like Legolas, you know, meets a fiery pursuit, you know, to come and rescue you, as they do, or they think they're doing. Oh, here's another thing when it comes to the pages, because the pages are feminine, but I like that they don't call them princess. So here's the Page of Cups. I thought this was really, really cute. Especially too, because I mean, you have the cute little like gown, you have this cute cup when it flowing, all the essence of water, those relationships that, you know, you're trying to work on, or maybe you need more resources to help you. Maybe you need somebody to teach you how to love, or maybe, you know, actually embracing your emotions. Here's that King of Cups coming in clutch. Here's that King of Cups I was telling you guys about. I like this one too because it's kind of like maybe he's like learning how to connect more to feminine energy, because I won't read the kings and queens as if they are exactly kings like a man and exactly queens like a woman, because I feel like in the world that we're in now, and just being inclusive is just like a given, especially being a reader. And I feel like, you know, telling somebody that they have a King of Cups coming up in their life, you know, is definitely an indication of like, this could be somebody with more masculine presenting energy, you know, coming to foster these emotions and emotional connections with you. Like, it's not always a man and it's not always a woman. I can't tell you. I can tell you by energy, you know, what that person feels like and what that person may sound like. But I'm not going to tell you that's straight up a man and straight up a woman. Like, that's just rude. Then you have, you know, cards like King of Wands, you know, that's Big Daddy energy. Let's just be real. Like, now, I will say too, like, everybody can have Big Daddy energy in my opinion, so get it. Get it how you live. Here's Judgment, which is really interesting. Overall, guys, like, it's a really beautiful deck. I really am inspired by it to kind of delve deeper, even into my own practice of shadow work, and really just understanding, you know, these images and why they chose these images. I love design and I love illustration, and I love learning why people pick, you know, the illustrations that they do when it comes to a tarot deck. Like, I guess I always want to know the behind the scenes. Here's the last one I'll show. Wheel of Fortune is really beautiful. And let me see. I'll show one more. Okay. I love this one. So the Star card. the good old Aquarian card. I just love that. And I love it because it also has like bats on there too. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just like, yes, this deck is very spooky. But it also involves shadow work. And that is something I feel like in the witchy community is something that's really coming up for people, especially this time of year. I mean, let's be real. The dark half of the year is kicking our butt. And it's really a year of transformation. Our Emperor year is making us learn how to adapt and figuring out our practicality and embodying what we need to, you know, as this authoritative, strong energy to survive and get through this year. So definitely, I think these cards, you know, have been a great addition to my readings. And I think it's, you know, going to be maybe a service that I create so that it's for people who want to foster this, because not everyone is ready to do shadow work, knows what it is, and wants to do that work right now. So that might be something that I, you know, change on. But I want to thank you guys for, you know, sitting with me for a little bit and talking, or while listening to me talk about, you know, the occult. I want to do more videos like this. I want to do videos talking about runes. I want to do videos talking about tarot and other divination styles. If you have any ideas for me or have anything that you want me to try out, you know, leave a comment below. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. I hope you all have a great night.